Allergies. Just saying.
Thank you for coming to the 2020 May monthly safety meeting. Today's topic, we're going to discuss about fleet safety, part one, which is fixed object and reference points. We're also going to talk about injury prevention, which is part two of heat stress, and two drive cam review. We're going to watch video one and video two. We're going to do a light exercise in regards about fixed object. What is a fixed object? Okay.
It's a reference. Oh, sorry.
So we're going to talk about reference points. So we're going to watch a video.
Who are we hearing? Is that a training class?
It's not playing.
Looks like we're froze.
Roast.
You froze. Broke it.
I hope not.
You didn't, he did. What's his name?
Okay. Welcome to the 2020 May monthly safety meeting. Our vision, we will deliver the best customer experience with industry-leading safety, reliability, and innovation. What does it mean to you?
Do the best job I can do for everybody and everything that I do while driving the bus.
And that revolves around
Safety,
Can somebody tell me a definition of safety? Anyone? What you learned in class, the definition of safety?
it's kind of like for every action, there's a reaction.
Definition of safety is freedom from risk.
Freedom from risk, you're right.
Okay. What part do we play in achieving this vision?
Being the laws of the road, pay attention to all the drivers out there that might be speeding or something like that, and keeping well aware of your surroundings. Basically based on the fact that now people are coming back on the road.
Okay.
Good chance people might be a little more rush and still probably might be used to not being trying to be on the road, so people might be still speeding and not paying attention to people on the road that might be pulled over to the side and try to come back into the road. And
Okay. Is safety part of customer service?
Yes.
yes,
Give me a reason.
Well,
Why is it part of,
when a client is getting on the bus and you're speaking with them, you always want to remind them to watch their step or hold a rail.
what about driving?
when the driving is, you got to pay attention to all the other drivers because some other drivers might be in a rush or they're not paying attention themselves, or there might be objects in the road that if you're following someone too close, you're not going to see with me. Now you're going to end up hitting.
What about fixed object?
You always want to watch ahead 15 seconds and anticipate what could happen.
So
And you want to make sure the client's buckled in.
buckled in. What happened if we hit a fixed object?
We go boom.
What happened?
If it was, might hurt. Some passengers might self hurt.
Okay? Give me a fixed object on the road.
Curb.
Curb. Let's talk about curb. What happened when you hit a curb?
You're gonna bounce the client in the back, maybe bust a tire, lose control of the bus.
Is that part of customer service?
You don't wanna bounce them.
Yes.
That means, well, think about it. When you curb the bus, it's an accident, correct?
Yes,
During an accident, what happened?
Camera goes off and
Okay, camera goes on, what else?
you might hurt the passenger because the passenger might have back problems and now you.
broke their back.
Okay? And what else? What about being late now? You're going to be late. Late because that's an accident. You have to call that in. That means the client that has a doctor's appointment might not even get to the doctor's appointment.
Hours of paperwork.
That means we're supposed to pick up our client from point A to point B and take them to the destination the safest possible, correct?
Yep.
That's customer service. Okay.
Point A to point B.
Overview. During today's meeting, we will covering fixed object, reference points, and then we will move on to cover heat stress. We will refresh ourselves around the fundamental of rocking and rolling in your seat. Using your mirrors to eliminate blind spots. Recognizing the signs of heat stress and staying hydrated and keep yourself cool. First one, our main menu today will be fleet safety, which is part one, fixed objects and reference points.
Hi, I'm Tress Martinez and I'm a trainer for bus operators in the public transit industry. Before doing this, I was a driver for over 15 years. One thing that I discovered and other operators have discovered over time is that the right-hand turn is one of the most dangerous things that we encounter every single day. Some of the hazards that a driver can encounter while making a right turn are both fixed and non-fixed. You could have a car, you could have a telephone pole or a light pole that's too close to the curb. You can have moving objects, such as pedestrians that will be distracted with a cell phone or maybe some headphones. You'll have bicyclists, a number of other things moving through an intersection that you've got to be aware of before, during, and after you execute that turn. So let's do this. Let's watch this video, get more into right-hand turns, and how you can do them perfect every single time. Not all intersections or right turns that you'll come across can be performed in one fluid movement. This particular intersection is one of those. As you approach an intersection, your work begins before you get there. You have to be scanning the whole time. You're scanning for bikes, pedestrians, cars, fixed objects such as telephone poles and other obstacles that could get in the way. Remember, you're going to rock and roll. You want to use your mirrors the entire time. Remember that your tires should be placed to the outside edge of the left curb to allow for more room to clear the right side object. By going to the left side, it allows more space for that back right tire to clear the obstacle because it's going to follow in the pathway of the tires that are in front. Notice here as the bus moves into the turn. The length of this bus at 40 feet long cannot clear both the left curb and the right curb at the same time. They're going to have to exercise pivot points. By doing so, this bus will go straight to where the driver is actually sitting on top of the curb. Right before that tire would hit the curb, move the wheels in the front to the right in order to avoid contact. You never want to make contact with your tires on a curb because it can damage the tires, it can jostle the passengers, and maybe even knock a passenger over if they weren't holding on properly. As those tires move to the right, you're looking to make sure that the right tire is now getting closer to hitting the curb. And now you want to move those wheels back straight through the intersection so that the right tire does not hit the curb. Once that's no longer an issue and that back tire will clear at that pivot point, turn the wheels to the right again to finish the navigation. You signal that you're coming to the intersection, you scan your mirrors, you rock and roll again, and you enter the intersection and bring yourself up to speed at a gradual level. At this intersection, you'll be using your 4-foot reference point so that you can line yourself up perfectly to make that turn. What is the 4-foot reference point? The 4-foot reference point is what you can set up for yourself on a particular bus to know that you have enough room to make a safe turn. You do so by parking the bus, measuring 4 feet, finding an object on that bus that lines up with the curb. Use that while you make the turn and it will never lie. For this intersection, the operator is going to use the right-hand side of the windshield wiper as their 4-foot reference point. As with any intersection, before you get there, your work begins. You want to scan that entire area. When you come to the complete stop, you want to look to the left, to the right, and the left again. You'll pull slowly into the intersection. You never want to burst into an intersection in case somebody runs a stop sign or a red light. Watch as the operator uses a slow, safe speed while turning. The slower you go, the more room you have to make your turn. You want to use the push-pull turning method. See that the right-hand tire has now cleared the curb and you straighten the bus out. You must continue scanning and using a gentle, safe acceleration speed, safely enter the flow of traffic. While it's not a right-hand turn directly, approaching the stop is one of the most dangerous and most common things that bus operators do. As you approach the stop, you want to use your right-hand turn signal to show that you'll be accessing a stop. As they get to the bus stop, they turn on their 4-way flashers. This shows vehicles that you are stopped. When you're ready to enter traffic again, you want to turn your 4-way flashers off and have your left-hand turn signal on to denote to traffic that you are moving back into the lane. Scan your mirrors. Slowly accelerate, rock and roll, safely enter the flow of traffic. This bus stop has a fence. It's an elevated stop that comes out from the curb into the lane of traffic. At this location with this fence that goes along the stop, you want to be careful that you don't swing out too far to where you hit a car in the left-hand lane. You also want to make sure that at the back of the bus, your tail swing does not hit a person standing at the bus stop or that fence. Watch this operator slowly leave the stop, stay in the lane, use their left-hand turn signal to show where they are, and move into the lane and continue on. Not all intersections are created equal. You're not going to have the luxury of using a 4-foot reference point on this turn. The lane is too tight. The road is at a crown. This can cause your bus to lean a little bit. By doing so, it'll get it closer to any light poles or any other objects that could potentially be a hazard. Once the bus continues through the intersection, be wary of cars to the left. Be wary of bicyclists trying to get around to the right. Pedestrians trying to run through to the other side, not observing the proper crosswalk laws. Once you get to your pivot point, you want to slowly turn the wheel, watching that back tire to make sure it doesn't go over the curb, watching that front left bumper to make sure you don't make contact with any objects. As you accelerate into the lane, you want to do so carefully and also slowly so that you don't jostle your passengers. Remember that you are the professional operator. You have to drive safe for yourself and for the people around you that aren't doing so. You have to see things around you. And if you use these techniques that we talk about in this video, you will indeed be serious.
All right, number 1, rock and rolling in your seat helps you do what?
Check your mirrors and be aware of your surroundings.
Check for traffic, people, bikes, etc.
Okay.
And the blind spot.
Blind spots. Helps you see around the blind spot that you're in the mirror. Don't cover. When you don't rock and roll, you have that big mirror on the right-hand side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that mirror block your spots of vision.
What I noticed was that
I was thinking the same thing in these new buses,
the
the
bus
way
stop. The uprights on the bus on the right-hand side.
It's my point, it's angled, the angled frame. Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of blind spots in your vehicle. That's why, when you stop, you rock and roll. You rock to the left, you rock to the right.
you rock up and you rock down.
So we're gonna cover that on the overhand. You gotta make sure that you see your pedestrians, you see your bicyclists, you see the traffic surrounding you. okay? Also, it helps you locate the fixed objects.
He's gonna park measure and find your object,
Okay,
but it would actually be stop, visually measure, and find the object.
but, clear your blind spot by also checking your mirror all the time. Mid-block, when you're turning on the mid-block, always scan your mirror. That would prevent you from, when you're looking at your mirror, that will prevent you going over the curb.
I always find the curve before I turn.
And also help you not hit any pedestrians trying to cross over right there.
Right.
Cars trying to come up, drive on the curb, they want to get in front of you.
How do we find your 4-foot reference points? Park the bus
Measure 4 feet.
and find the objects of the bus that lines up with the curb. Like, what lines up with the curb?
Your bumper, or back tire, front tire.
Okay. What about your windshield wiper?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The
Alright.
second one normally.
What is a tail swing? Can somebody tell me what a tail swing is?
Tail swing is when you're making a turn, you're gonna watch your right bumper because it can flip out and hit a car or a person or something. So you need to make sure you have at least, is it 4 feet or 3 feet? 4 feet.
Okay. Well, definition of a tail swing is a portion of the bus extending ahead of the front tire. Okay.
Huh?
A portion of the bus extending ahead of the front tire and in the back of the rear tire. The overhang standard bus can be up to 6 feet in front of the 8 feet in the rear. In this case, we need your tail swing. You know that your back tire does not follow the front tire when it's turning, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta make sure you watch your mirror.
So it's 8 feet?
Let me give you a definition of a tail swing one more time. A tail swing or your overhang is the portion of the bus extending ahead of the front tires and the back of the rear tires. The overhang standard bus, okay, can be up to 6 feet front and 8 feet in the rear.
Okay. They're talking about a Metro City.
Just like this bus right here that we're looking at. Can somebody tell me off tracking and tail swing constantly monitored with what? How do you monitor that?
How do you monitor what?
With your mirror.
With your mirrors, thank you. Your off tracking tail swing should be constantly monitored by your mirror. So when you're turning mid-block, you're looking at your mirror. When you're looking at mirror, that will prevent you from hitting or going over the curb. Okay, your mirror becomes your best friend at all times. You can see what? Pedestrian and bicyclists. Okay, we know that people
Angry drivers trying.
are looking at their cell phone when they don't even look for you. Okay, they don't see you. You have, as a professional driver, you need to look for them at all times.
Side note, I was watching a guy on a bicycle when it was coming down Roxbury. There were these two girls walking. He wasn't paying attention to where he was going. He was looking at the two girls, smacked right into a pole.
What speed, well, let me test your knowledge here. What speed should you make your turn and what's it called?
3 miles per hour.
Okay,
They say 3 to 5.
okay, 3 to 5. What does it call what is it called when you make your turn and what's it called? Walk your bus. How fast does a normal person walk? 5 miles, okay? So that means walking your bus. When you're turning, nice and slow, 5 miles, okay? Like walk your bus. Heat stress, we're gonna cover injury prevention and heat stress. We know summer's just right around the corner.
There's gonna be a lot of that going on.
Heat-related illness is a medical condition that can happen as a result of extreme heat exposure. It can show up as a heat rash, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and the most serious, heat stroke. Recognizing the symptoms of heat-related illnesses can mean the difference between life and death. When the body loses too much water and salt, heat exhaustion sets in. Symptoms may include weakness, headache, dizziness, lightheadedness, fainting, rapid weak pulse, heavy sweating, clammy skin, nausea.
All right. A few heat strokes. What are the signs of heat exhaustion? Like it says on the video, weakness, headache, dizziness, lightheadedness, fainting, rapid weak pulse, heavy sweating, cold, pale, inclined skin, and nausea and vomiting.
How about also distorted speech, like, to the point where they're kind of slurring the speech because it's like.
Yeah, there's
something like
confusion.
Confusion. Okay.
Thirst.
Vomiting. Heat stroke is serious and can lead to brain damage or death if not treated promptly and properly. Heat stroke victims may experience high body temperature, a rapid pulse, hot, red, dry, or moist skin, confusion, a decrease in alertness, blurred judgment, and possible unconsciousness. If you suspect someone is suffering from heat exhaustion or heat stroke, call 911 immediately. This is a medical emergency. Move the person to a cooler location. Lie them down. Remove excessive layers of clothing. Reduce the person's body temperature with ice packs, cool cloths, a bath, and/or a fan. Give them water to sip. However, do not give fluids if the person vomits.
There is a close link between radiation from the sun and also heat-related illness. Sun protection factor is not the best control. The best control is to avoid sitting in the sun, especially between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. because that's when the hottest temperatures are. To stay safe, 1, make sure that you are fully hydrated. 2, listen to the weather forecast and avoid being out in the heat. Make sure you wear sun protection factor. Avoid alcoholic drinks and caffeine. Make sure you wear light clothing. Cotton is preferable. And also protect your head with a hat to avoid sun radiation.
The dog days of summer don't have to be dangerous. Recognize the warning signs. Awareness is the key to preventing heat-related illnesses.
What are some, we talked about what are some signs of heat exhaustion? Name me some.
Confusion, thirst, dizzy, fainting, cold, pale, clammy skin.
Lightheadedness, weakness.
Dizziness. Nausea and vomiting.
Nausea and vomiting, which don't give them the water.
How can you protect yourself from heat exhaustion?
Drink plenty of fluids.
Avoid alcohol and caffeine.
Okay,
Check the weather. Wear
Good.
a hat or something like that.
Okay.
Sunglasses, some sunscreen.
good. What about hat?
Wear one, but make sure it's. I would probably avoid wool. Because how
So is that why we don't wear collar shirt? Always wear white when it's hot.
Yeah, it reflects the sun.
Yeah,
Okay.
avoid dark clothes.
Activity, what about activity? Activity, in the back of your, questionnaire there. Write me, tell me some fixed object, that's on the road that can lead to an accident, like, if you don't use your foot for reference point while turning, what type of fixed object can we, make contact? Curb, okay, that's one, curb. What else?
And trees.
Trees.
Cars,
Telephone pole, cars, okay? What else?
fence,
What's that?
mailbox,
Mailbox,
During days, trash cans.
trash cans, yeah,
basketball goals.
okay, yeah, we can hit those, like, when we go through neighborhood, there's a
Mostly
basketball
cul-de-sacs.
hoop there.
And they got it all the way out on the street part.
And if you don't watch that, guess what, we're gonna sideswipe the basketball court.
Low hanging power lines.
Good, good, carport, what about carport?
Yep,
What about
People.
people, what about overhang, like, low overhang, like in a low building, overhang building? What do we do when, in case of you're unsure?
you don't go.
Get out and check.
What do we call that? What's GOAL stand for?
Get out and look.
Get out and look.
But even then you can't. I mean, I was picking up somebody on Thursday over in Ballard at a cancer place off Swedish, and it says 9 foot 6 inches.
Okay?
And the customer said, oh no, you under it. And it's like, everybody goes under it. It's like, well,
That-
I'm not going to.
Right, you're not
You know?
everybody,
Yeah,
you're not every other driver.
yeah, you know, and it's like,
And one thing we don't do is listen to your client.
yeah,
You are the captain. If you're a captain and there's a private giving you direction, would you listen to a private?
Hell no. Hell no.
you might, if they have a good point, you know?
You can always take suggestions, but you're
Yeah,
still
suggestions.
captain of the ship.
So, make sure that if you're uncertain, and if there's no marking on the overhang, you don't go under. Get out and look. What's the height of your bus?
10'3" and 10'6" when it has the little
Let's-
AC cooler.
Let's not,
10-6.
let's not focus on a 10.3. I need you to get your mind off 10.3.
10-6.
The height of your bus is 10.6.
We say 10-3, but
I
I
know,
say.
I know.
Go
Please,
for 11 or more.
just put in your head, the bus height is 10.6. Don't go any overhang less than 10.6. If it's not marked, please don't go underneath. Get out and check, get out and look. Read your manifest. Sometimes the manifest will say it's okay to go under the overhang. And sometimes they'll say,
Don't.
go to the center to go through the overhang. 148 across Microsoft, the activity center. The first thing we'll say is that go through the center of the driveway. Because if you go to the right or you go to the left, it's 2 feet less. But if you go in the center, it's a perfect, and you have enough room to go through.
And do not park there.
Do not park in the center. Let's just go right in the center. Read your comments, okay? But if you're not unsure, get out and look. Okay, and then for sure, if you're unsure, just pick up your client while you park the bus, okay? Prevents us from having an accident. Drive cam review is gonna focus on video 1. Video 1, This video is about an operator is approaching the awning. It's a low overhang. Did not realize the clearance. It's too low. So we're gonna watch this video one. But before I go through this, did anybody see what's the height?
8 feet.
It said clearance, but
I thought it was 9,
It
but
said clearance, but I couldn't see it because he was going too fast.
Yeah,
8 feet.
feet.
oopsie.
Is that why we stop, slow down when we're in the parking area?
Yes.
Is that why we have to be aware of our surroundings by checking everything?
Yeah, and people dart out everywhere in these
Yeah.
places.
Right. So somebody said 8 feet, right? Anybody, somebody saw it 8 feet?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was going for
I thought it was 9, but it's blurry.
And he backing out. There it is, right
Yeah,
there.
8 feet. Holy cow.
It don't matter if it's 9 feet. You still
No,
gotta
no.
make sure
Right.
that you have to stop your bus and don't go under. Okay?
Guy's going pretty fast too.
What's the height of your bus?
10-6.
All right. How could the driver have avoided this scenario? How could you avoid this?
Be aware of the clearance.
Slow down. One, because he kind of sped up in there.
Number one, make sure you know the height of your bus first. If you know the height of your bus, 10-6, okay? Also check the clearance. Check the clearance before you proceed to an awning or a carport or a facility has a big carport that doesn't have any sign. You just have to get on, even though it looks plenty of room. But if it doesn't have any marking of the height clearance, get out anyway. You guys would like to watch that again?
No, that's
I know.
No, I want to see the damage. They never show the damage. Whoa. Too far over.
What could a driver do to improve this type of a right turn?
He could have paid attention to the fixed object, which could have been the yellow lines right down the road.
He could have stopped. It looks like he didn't stop. He kind of just cruised through.
What about reference points and pivot points?
Then the curve making a right turn. First that big, you know you gotta make it into the other side of the yellow line, so she didn't do that, and then I saw her just, I don't even know if the person even stopped that much.
You also want to make sure your reference points, when turning, what's your reference point?
4 feet.
4 feet reference points. Is that why we always make it square turns?
Yes.
Okay. And you're also gonna have to check your blind spot. Rock and roll. Check, and also check your mirror throughout the turn. What happens if you don't check your mirror?
You can run over the curb, you can run over a person.
You can run, yeah, you can run over a person, a bicyclist, or somebody just,
Being a complete
or a
idiot.
parked car. Sidewalks, you can go over the sidewalks, curbed. Also, walk your bus. Walk the bus no faster than 5 miles per hour. So on your turn, make sure I know it said 3 to 5 miles per hour, but at least 3 miles, just nice and slow. Check your mirror, okay? And what happened if you hit a curb? You have a passenger on board, you hit a curb, or
Accident.
you go over the curb. What happened to the client that's sitting next to the window?
They could hit their head, they could hurt their back.
They can hurt their neck. And we know when a client said, ouch, you guys signed that 100 reason why we call dispatch. One of them is ouch. If a client said ouch, you stop the bus, call your dispatch. Did you know that? No? Thank you for coming to the safety meeting. Make sure that your paperwork is all filled up. Okay.
Be aware that you might get some clients that just kind of yell a lot.
Do what now?
You might get some clients that yell a lot, especially special needs ones.
That's, when you have a client like that, you have to tell the client